And it's very dark in here. Why is it so dark in here? It is very dark in here. What's up, everybody? We are live today. And I have a whole bunch of shadows on my face. Let me turn on another light real quick. Let's see what we got here. All right. Looking like Phantom in here. All right, let me go live. Let me tell people on Instagram that we are live. And then we can get this going. Okay. All right, I think I'm, okay, say my connection. All right, trying to make it work. It's Friday. It's Friday, y'all, November 6th. Happy Friday to everybody. This is Nikki with That Homeschool Life. Now, I am live streaming to YouTube, y'all, and Instagram. You guys, oh my God, my pimple's bigger on IG. And so if you see me looking either way, I'm reading comments, but I'll do my best to read the comment out loud so you know what's going on. And then for, if it's kind of crazy for you guys, I'll upload YouTube to IG to like the stories or whatever you call it. I don't know. I'm learning IG. But before all of that, I owe you guys a little freebie because we had a wonderful, wonderful Friday hot topic last week, which was, are you a curriculum hopper? So for all the 100+ people who came in, whether live or you did the playback during the live, I appreciate that. I have for you, now this is the free version, Phases of the Moon. Let me show you two first. Phases of the Moon that I created for you guys. And it's a 7-day activity set. Now for IG, you're gonna have to go over to my YouTube channel, which is in my bio. So click that link and then you should see me live right now. And that the video is live, and then just go into that video either now or later. And then there will be a link in the description box. Click that to get your free Phases of the Moon. So because we had 2 juicy harvest moons in October, I thought this would be cool to pull out for your children to get them interested in studying the sky. So it's 7 days. Now, what I did, I was trying to combine multiple grade levels on one sheet. So I'm trying to differentiate. Now, I do have some paid versions where I separate all of the grade levels out. But for this, what you can do, and just so you know, each day has a different poem. So you see we start off with a basic little kiddie poem, a picture book type of poem, and then we'll have something that's a little bit more involved. And all the poems have to do with the moon or space. So this is a great jump start to a unit study, is actually one that I use. We have Langston Hughes. I have poems by Robert Louis Stevenson, who wrote Treasure Island. So I try to mix in quality poems with kind of lullaby poems, some of your basic kinds of poems. And then at the end, we have a song. And for that song, because you won't know how to sing it, I have a link to YouTube where you can listen to the song with the pictures. And then you can, pull that out for your kids to sing with you. So we have, it's a little bit of for everyone. Now, what you can do with this, hold on, let me just show you the last 2 days. So you see how the poems alternate from pretty and involved, lots of lines, to very simple, okay? And I have very quality poems. Hey, Erin, what's going on? How's your Friday going? And then this is the 7th day, which is a song. It's pretty, pretty cool song, but it gets your kid going and excited about the moon. Now, what you see up here, you have all the phases of the moon. So for the child who was younger or who really can't write that well, all they need to do is look at the moon and then find the matching picture and just circle it, right? And then here they have the poem to read, and here they can illustrate the moon. And then down here, you want to know what is the weather like tonight. So you want to start teaching your children to look up and be observant of their environment and of nature. And so they're going to figure out, hey, is it cloudy, rainy, snowy, windy, or a clear night? For your young ones, your littles, have them circle the picture. For your older ones, have them write a sentence or two about, oh, tonight is a rainy night. It's the second time it's been rainy, whatever, you know. But that's your freebie. I think I've covered pretty much everything. The type of moon, again, the type of moon, just circle what it is, name, date. The time is important because if you want to bring in some math, you can start graphing the time when you see the moon. So, or when the moon is at its highest, you get more complicated with that. But that is for you. It is available right now to download and put into your repertoire. Now, I will have on my website a more detailed one that's part of my unit study on space. And each week there's an activity. Like this is one I did with my kids years ago. We still have the little stains on it with Oreo cookies. So you can make that a really fun unit study. And I'll have that up whenever I get around to it. Because y'all, I'm in that burnout season right now. But today we are talking about special needs homeschooling. Now listen, y'all was at the last minute with the vote count. So today I finally got the final tally for what you guys wanted to see tonight. And so starting this today, I'm going to open up topics, or you can suggest your own hot topic. And then I'm going to close it on Wednesday. So I have Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday to gather and prepare everything for the live. So I didn't have that much time because I got the final results today, and then I got a life, got a homeschool, and I had physical therapy and whatever. But I got 10 years of special needs homeschooling under my belt, so I'm going to wing it. All right. So any questions so far? I love the Oreo cookie one. That's a fun one, guys. That's a fun one. And if you have any allergies to sugar, gluten, anything, there are so many different versions of fake Oreos where you can still do that and not worry about upsetting your child's dietary restrictions. Okay, so the reason to homeschool special needs child, there's two ways. Your child is either in public school and you're pulling them out, or you just started homeschooling from jump. Now, in my case, hi, melanated gold. I'm sorry, I can't see the rest of your name, melanated. I'm gonna call you melanated goddess, but I know it's melanated gold homemaker. Hey guys, Pray Love Homeschool Beneficial Academy, Crystals, K-Day Hannah. Hey everybody. Our homeschool castle. What's the name of this? Okay, so our homeschool castle. This is special needs homeschooling. And so I've gotten a lot of requests on this, and this is definitely going to be a series because there's so many nuances to homeschooling. But first, the reason to homeschool special needs children, I'll go with the approach of your child was in public school and you pulled them out, okay? That's my experience. And some of those reasons, and you don't have to have them in a public or private school setting, but a lot of reasons to homeschool would be, you know, autism, anxiety, depression, bullying, physical disabilities. Your child is epileptic, your child is blind or deaf, or maybe they have like apraxia, or there's a whole list of reasons to pull your child home to homeschool because of all of those conditions that get to be overwhelming to deal with, in addition to dealing with the people, let's say, in a public or private school setting. So I just brought my kids home. Now, special needs homeschooling is not just children who have those conditions that I mentioned. The flip side of special needs is gifted. Now, back in the day when the U.S. had a little bit of coins, gifted education was under special education and it was funded. I know when my child first started kindergarten in 2011, I think, they started cutting the budgets. And so gifted education became voluntary and really parent funded. So those kids were not served. And then the kids who were in special education, they weren't really served that well either. So just so you know, like with my child, I have a 2E child. And what that means is he is twice exceptional. So he had some, this is my oldest child. He had, we went through Mensa. That's a whole nother thing with Mensa. I found it to be a tracking program. That's a whole nother story. We didn't go that route. But 2E is you have some kind of disability, if you will, and then you have some kind of aptitude, a very high aptitude for something, but they both coexist. So you could be in algebra 2 in the 3rd grade and, have autism. So those would be two exceptional giftedness or needs for that child. Okay. My daughter has epilepsy. Yes. I had a friend when we did a charter homeschool whose son had epilepsy. And if the teacher, the staff, and the school are not on top of it and your child, it could be very frightening because you don't have that much time to get to your child and make sure they're okay. So just the stress of not knowing or that anticipation, that wears you down as a parent and for your child too, if they don't feel they're going to be safe going, to school or going away from you. So all of these things will just make you want to be like, you know what? Let's just bring everything and everyone home and go from there. Also, I found just recently, maybe 4 or 5 years ago, a number of parents, their children are neurotypical, but the parent has a special need. And that's another topic to be discussed. And I found one parent, she was on the spectrum. Her husband was on the spectrum. And then the other parent was a real introvert. She borderline, could be kind of depressed, but she was definitely a real introvert and just could crumble really easily. And that, that kind of vibration can kind of, be pushed onto your children. So when we're talking about special needs homeschooling, it could be the parent who wants to figure out a way to teach their children. An ADHD parent, they might have a problem putting a curriculum together or a lesson plan together because they're all over the place. So the parent is special needs, right? The child is like, Mom, what's going on? We were just in the middle of science. Now we're having pretzels and doing spelling, so it could be a lot of things. So that will be a topic for another time. But listen, but there are different approaches to these children. And one thing that you have to know, because I know a lot of you are going to ask, what kind of curriculum do you recommend? What kind of this do you think? One of the wisest things I've heard and I've been told, and is a very popular saying, is at least in the autism community, once you've met one child with autism, you've met one child with autism, because things are different with every child. No child is the same. Things present differently with each child. So I'm going to give you some suggestions, some things that have worked with me or didn't work, and things that I've seen in my past 10 years, just watching, ear hustling, eye hustling other people and seeing, what do they use, what's in their toolbox. And then I'll take questions and I'll read comments. A lot of moms that come in here, they have amazing experiences and solutions. So for all of you moms and dads out there who do have special needs kids, please feel free to put your information and your thoughts, your wisdom in the comment section. Erin, yes, 2 of my children are 2E. Yes, girl, I know. We know the struggle. I know a lot of families, I'm reading comments from YouTube. I know a lot of families who both the parent and the child have special needs. Exactly. It didn't stop them from homeschooling. Listen, I know a lot of parents, the mom works, the dad works, and they have 3 or 4 kids and they homeschool. You can find a way. It's just a little bit of planning, a little bit of faith, and a little bit of letting go of the box, what something is supposed to look like. So there are, oh, you look pretty tonight. Thank you. I'm actually, look, this is another video on home care for mom. I've been trying to, my makeup's so old, it's probably moldy. I'm probably going to have pink eye tomorrow. But I'm trying to put, a little eyeshadow on and stuff like that. Got a little Target $5 headband. So thank you. Okay, so perfect. I have a daughter with Dravet or Dravet syndrome, and I have always homeschooled my daughter. So you see, we have some parents, they knew from the beginning, public school, private school is not going to work from them. I'm just going to read a couple more comments and then we'll get back to my tips. I had a mom in my local homeschool community that mentored me for a while. She really helped me. That's another thing with homeschooling, guys. There are a couple of great forums, especially on Facebook. I will put those links in the box after the live. But on Facebook, there are some really solid, supportive, encouraging moms. They have access to a lot of information and they're honest and they just want to help you. It's like a sisterhood. Some dads in there too. Okay, I actually talk about special needs homeschooling on my channel too. Glad I found you. Our Homeschool Castle. So Homeschool Castle, you have a YouTube channel? Guys, so our Homeschool Castle, she's a special needs homeschooling mom. She has a channel on YouTube. Go check her out and see what kind of information and advice you can get. Okay, so the one takeaway, if you don't take away anything from tonight, the one thing is teach the child in front of you. I had to learn that the hard way. We're always comparing. You're comparing your other kids, people's kids. You're comparing ghosts. Just teach the child in front of you. But you got to be honest and you got to remove your ego. Okay? I found one of the biggest hurdles to parents who struggle with homeschooling is, one, they don't really want to acknowledge something going on with their child, or they don't want to acknowledge the degree to which something is afflicting their child. And two, they think that what they give them has to work because someone else told them. And if it doesn't, something's wrong with their child. So if you want to remove all those labels and just focus on that sweet baby child right in front of you. So let's get to the advantages of homeschooling your child with special needs. Now, at least in my case, the top 2 or 3 advantages were, let me just back it up. My middle son is on the spectrum. He was diagnosed at 3, but prior to that, he was in preschool and I started seeing some issues like around the community. He had echolalia, where you repeat everything that someone says to you instead of having a back and forth conversation. Anything moving backwards would just terrify him. So if I were like in the car driving to the park and I have a big old truck car, and if my car was like on the line and I was, oh man, I got to back this car up and get it straightened up. And I would be like, okay, I got to get him out the car first and then back up the car. Because if I backed up the car, he would just lose it. Any backward motion would just throw him off. He would stem, the hand flap. So he had a lot of those things. And he's faded out of all of those things. But in the trenches, those were the things where I didn't want him to feel different. I didn't want him to feel less than. And at preschool, it was fine. But then as you get the kids start getting a little older, sometimes the kids are just fine. It's the parents that say something, not to your child necessarily, but to their child. And then that child carries that bone back to your child. So for me, when I put my child, he was in special ed at 3 at a program through the public school. It was a really great program, actually. I knew the teacher. I worked very Why is my sister calling me during the live? I worked with the teacher very carefully. Okay, listen, guys. This is going to be general homeschooling special needs because I know a lot of you are going to talk to me about IEPs and services, and that's going to be more detailed. So that will be, let's make that for the next topic whenever we have the next hot topic. Just know that you got to do some finagling, but you can get resources, services, and things like that. But just to move on. So with my child, after kindergarten, I pulled him. But the one thing that was the biggest help for me as a teacher and a mom, but mainly as a teacher, when you're getting your child diagnosed, there are so many tests that they're doing. They're testing everything academically, emotionally, physiologically, behaviorally, everything. And you start to see your child's learning style, and you'll start to see triggers in your child or things that will make them, they'll be perfectly fine one moment and then the next they're not. And you want to get them back to that previous point. So when you're doing testing, that gives you a lot of intel to kind of help make sense. So when you're home, you can devise a strategy. My number one advice to you guys is to be prepared, because when you're prepared, it cuts down a lot of the frustration. For example, I have a video on homeschooling multiple ages without losing your mind. This is apropos because when you're teaching, say, one kid, and then your child with the disability needs your attention, or is having a meltdown, or is throwing something, you got to go take care of that. But then this kid is like sitting here like, well, I guess we're not going to do spelling, so I'll go, draw on the wall or something like that. So you got to have your arsenal of tricks to have your neurotypical kids to be able to occupy themselves or do some kind of work while you attend to the child that really needs your attention right then and there. So being prepared, having that box of tricks, even for your kid who is, who does have the disability. So for example, whatever your child's issue is, maybe it's depression, that's the time you sit down and you figure out what makes my child happy. What do they like? What are they watching? What do they like to color or draw, or, manipulate things, build, whatever it is. Find at least one or two things that you can kind of help not pull them out of depression, but it won't trigger them or make it worse. And just kind of have that on hand, preferably something new they haven't seen before. So you can go attend to maybe another child, or maybe you work from home, okay? Or if your child, now for some things you can't do that if your child is having something going on and they are a danger to themselves or to other children in the house. But for the issues where you can safely, attend to the other children, have that toolbox of things for your child. Now, in my case, I know that my child, at the time I didn't know, the gut, the food, the mind, there's like a brain in your stomach. That is, for us, that was a big trigger for episodes. I didn't know that at the time. So I was like, oh, let me make these nice little snacks for my kid. So when I'm working with Big Brother, I have this and give him a little book and he's good. And then he would just blow up because I was feeding him. I was literally lighting the match to just make him go off, combust. And I didn't know that. So you want to sit down. If you don't test, you want to sit down and watch your child for at least a whole week, and sit and you got, and I mean, you got to be Detective Barnes from Law and Order, whatever her name was. You got to, the time, the day, but right when your child starts having episodes, whatever, write that down. What happened right before that happened? And then what did you do, or what did your child do afterward to make it work, or what made it worse so you don't repeat that again? So you're going to have a lot of record keeping, okay? In the beginning, when you're trying to get the household into a rhythm, it's going to be messy and it's going to be ugly. It's going to be messy and ugly, but that's okay. You just got to get that intel, because just one little nugget of information that works is going to be priceless to you. Trust me. And then the next time you find another little nugget, and then you just stack it up, and then you start, making some kind of progress. So when you start from rock bottom, you have a place to go. So you can tell your child, remember 2 weeks ago when you would do this and this would happen? You've only done it 3 times instead of 12 times. Let them see them progressing and making progress, and give them ownership into that. All right, let me read some comments. All right. That's a biggie. I love it. I remember when my oldest son was 3, I cried boohoo tears when I realized we were not going to do this the way I thought. I mourned a bit. Yeah, that's another thing. A lot of times we have this conception of what our child should be like. And when that child is not like that, for a while, I didn't really take my child out to a lot of places after. It was maybe about 6 months, and it was really bad. I didn't take my child out, or I would have to do reconnaissance. Like literally, I would go to the place first and look for areas where we can kind of stand, because they would be like in groups for like activities. And I'm like, okay, so when he starts to, when I start seeing that that breathing and everything, I know I can move us over here to the back, so we don't have to leave the place, but we can at least be in the back, and no one's going to see him having an episode. So you start becoming a military person, trying to figure out how to, at the park or at, you know, the little gym or gymnastics or whatever, you know, what's your tool? You know, you have your, you know, your pocket full of, you know, whatever special thing you need, or your fidgets. You start, you know, you kind of envision the whole place and how to work, manipulate your child into with the other kids. And that's exhausting. And then you do kind of mourn that, oh, my kid can't just sit down. Hey, baby, you need anything? Okay. Are you guys ordering? All right. Let me know when you're ready to order. You know, I kind of mourned that my child would never sit still on the carpet during reading time, whether at the library or when he was in preschool or in kindergarten. He was rolling, doing cartwheels, you know, grabbing something. He was just never going to be that child. And so I kind of mourned that. I was always like, is the teacher going to talk to me after school today? You know, just that, you know, never knowing what you're going to get. So I absolutely understand that part about wanting your child to be this special kind of child, and they're not. Okay. I agree about testing, although they did say she didn't need OT. Not true. I found a lot of help through my community of parents who have kids like mine. And that's another thing, finding your tribe. If you can't find them in your neighborhood, I would start with Facebook, and then from Facebook, try to, eventually you can kind of find people who are in your city, and then get in the city and then figure out what side of town are you on, and build it slowly like that. You just need one mom that you relate to, just one mom. Or if you are doing services, speech, OT, ABA, whatever, you know, looking for moms, read the bulletin boards. You know, there are lots of activities and programs for kids with whatever condition they're going in for, and then try to, you know, meet up with those kinds of parents as well. But beware, because some of those parents are energy vampires, and you will get bogged down with the parents who are lamenting, and they have a mindset of like, well, my child's always going to be like this, you know, and they want you to feel that same kind of way. And I never felt that way. I'm like, no, we're going to rock and roll. We're going to figure this out. We're going to conquer the world. And they were just like, you know, you want to watch out for those parents who their vibration is low. You don't need to be in that space right now. Like right now where I am, I can rock with those parents and try to take my higher vibration frequency and try to put it on them, so they're not feeling so depressed dealing with their child, right? Because I'm thinking about the child and how that child must feel with a parent who is just not advocating for them. So the advantages of homeschooling. So one-on-one learning. I've told y'all in a number of videos, my son, it took us almost 5 months of studying fractions until he got it. He got it. He's a master at it. But he can do that in a public school, private school. And then one-on-one, the reason why it took so long, I use what's called the Pomodoro technique. It's where you study. A lot of people do that, like in medical school, or people who have to learn a whole bunch of information fast. You study information in 10-minute increments, and then you take a break. So we would do something, say we're reading something, and we started with 3 minutes. And then after 3 minutes, I would have him run around the kitchen, or like a bear, you know, like a bear crawl, not just straight running, that's boring. Bear crawl around the kitchen, or walking backwards like a crab, or walking like a duck. What? That's a penguin. What? Wait, what sound that's a penguin? Whatever, you know, just doing this, or do the Egyptian walk, you know, just something fun, but to get him going. And then we go back, and then we read a couple more sentences, go back again, and then we worked up to 10 minutes. So with math, we would do 1 or 2 problems, go. You know, at that point, he was in 4th or 5th grade. we would just do like exercises, like push-ups and sit-ups. And just as I was learning more about how the body worked, I would have him do more exercises that I knew would help detangle the neurological wiring in his body. Let's see. Also, you get to reevaluate your child as often as you need. So when you get a curriculum that you think is the bomb.com, and then you realize 5 weeks in, it's not. Maybe you realize, I know some children who have issues, reading words on the page. There's a popular curriculum, I think it's called Ortho Gilligan or something. I actually used it for a second, but children who have, I forget the problem they have when they're reading. I'm sure someone will tell me about it, but you get the chance to, if you have the curriculum that's not working and then you realize something that's going on with your child, you can get rid of that curriculum and get something that's more specialized for them as you're learning more about your child, right? So if your child has ADHD or ADD, you might not want to get teacher intensive, heavy text learning resources as sensory overload. And for a child with ADHD or ADD, they need small bites, right? So you'll want to look for a curriculum where there's less on the page, or maybe you don't want to use a curriculum. Maybe you want to use the body and the environment and maybe just read to kind of bring it together. But you want to look at the child and see, is that going to work based on the fidgety child? Maybe your child is really shy and they can devour a lot, and you're giving them Evan Moore stuff. Evan Moore is quick to the point, real quick. They might need something more prose-like, more involved, more teacher intensive to satisfy, to satiate that drive, that hunger or something. Because if not, then they become a volcano. So that's why it's important to look at the child in front of you, observe them, see what they're inclined to and what they're adverse to, and then it makes it easier to look at the curriculum and immediately be like, nope, yeah, this looks good. But also, you want to keep your child priority, but you got to have priority too. Now, you got 50 million kids. Maybe you're a single mom. Maybe you work from home. Maybe you have some health issues. You don't need 5 subjects and all of them are teacher intensive. You might need something that is maybe all in one, although I don't really recommend that. I prefer piecing together curriculum so you can get exactly what you need for each child and for each subject. But if you're drowning, you might need something that's already put together that all you have to do is open it up and get going to get things done. So the learning phase of homeschooling special needs at home, you got to put that work in. You got to figure out what's triggering your child, what makes your child glow, that makes them happy, what your style is, like how much time can you really put into this? Because you have to remember, you probably have appointments during the week, right? It might take you 2 hours to get to speech, and you go to speech once or twice a week, right? So you have to factor in, okay, well, I'm going to need some open and go curriculum because we're going to be on the road for almost 4 hours a day, 8 hours a week, just with, services. So you want to think about your load. How much are you putting in with your child besides teaching? What kind of services are they receiving that's going to take away from your learning time? Because most of the services are during the school hours. So you want to keep that in mind. Also, your flex schedule, which is what I was just talking about. So your child has speech twice a week in the middle of the day, plus you have other kids, car schooling is going to be your best friend. Having those workbooks, keep a little backpack just in a little thing with a little pencil box with the pencils, crayons, glue, scissors. And when you go to those appointments, while that child is getting the services, your other children are doing their little work. Nothing intense, something that they can work on while they're hearing the noise of the people around, the doors opening and closing, things like that. And that way, you're still making some kind of progress, okay? Because progress, however small, is still progress. Safer. Depending on what your child is dealing with, they are safer at home. They are safer from other students, from teachers, from staff, just from themselves, because maybe your child cannot advocate for himself or herself at school, and they might become a danger to themselves because just maybe the classroom has too much stuff in it and your child is on sensory overload. So your child most times is going to be safer at home. So that's another reason why, or that's another advantage to homeschooling your child with special needs. And then finally, your meals and your environment. Now, I did a video last week, I think, on the my top 6 homeschooling books. Now this was the trump. This was the trump card that made things click in my house. There's also another book called The Out of Sync Child Has Fun. It's somewhere downstairs because it gets really used. But these books, well, this one mainly, will show you how. Now listen, it doesn't really matter what's going on with your child. Everybody needs something like this, because when you are organized and not living in clutter, there's a sense of calm. Seriously, the scientific fact behind this. There's a sense of calm in your body, in your mind, in your soul, your spirit, where you can kind of be at rest and not inside, not always be on. You can be at rest and then attend to whatever you need to attend to. So I don't know if any of you guys remember John and Kate plus 8. It was a show about a couple that had 8 kids at one time. I think Kate had like 8 kids, IVF or something. And the one thing I liked about her, besides her crazy persona, was that she was totally ABA in this. She had everything in her house super labeled, organized, compartmentalized. So because it was all set up for you, your mind can just relax and think about other things because everything else was laid out. I cannot tell you, that was my saving grace. Being able to get my children kind of on a schedule, a routine, knowing what to expect, took a lot off of me and for them. A lot of times just knowing what comes next or knowing where to put this or where to get that alleviates a lot of problems. All right, guys, I know I'm a little long-winded. Let me get through some of this. Now, oh, wait, I have a lot of comments. Hold on, y'all. All right, let me read some comments from Instagram. Keeper of my home. Hey, girl, what's up? I need to work on organizing big time. You know what? I'm glad you said that, because the reason why I was able to put some makeup on, because I found my makeup. Y'all don't know, some of y'all don't know, but my upstairs bathroom, the master bathroom, flooded all upstairs. So we're really just kind of coming out of that. And then I was sick, and then I tore my shoulder and was out for a month. So everything was in Target bags, Walmart bags, everywhere but where it needed to be. So I actually found my makeup because I'm a little bit organized now. But the stuff is in here. It tells you how to organize your kitchen, the pantry, the bedroom, the entryway, your living room, things that you wouldn't even think, because we're just automatic with stuff and we don't know why we do it. This will kind of give you the why and why it makes sense to do it like maybe this way or that way, and how it cuts your time in half, or it keeps you from double backtracking and all of that. So we're going to have a video on that, because this is really like a game changer. All right, let's see what else. Yes, red dye number 40 was our gasoline. Yes, so with the food. Oh yeah, okay, so we're talking about environment. Food was a trigger with my child, and didn't know that in the beginning, but that was part of the research. So when I would start documenting what he was doing, okay, breakfast, lunch, dinner, right? And then I would write down what he ate and then what his mood was after he ate, to about like an hour or so, because that's usually about enough time for your body to digest something, for you to start feeling something, maybe max 2 hours. But you got to watch your child to see how they're feeling, and you'll start seeing some patterns. Trust me, you'll start seeing some patterns. And then the thing is, you figure out what the food was, and then you read the label. Okay, now this whole foods, things that you can pick off a tree, a plant, a vine, that's different. But if it's something that's packaged, then you got to do some detective work and see, is it is it the flour? Is it the nut, the soy, the milk, the dairy? What is it? And so you kind of got to back engineer. Now, there are tests you can take to see if you have allergens and things like that, but that's for another video. But knowing what those triggers are will help you in your homeschool, because if you're giving your kids some juicy fruit, grape Kool-Aid to go over there and sit down and do some work while you're working with this child, you just basically blew up your day, because that's not going to end well. What's the title of the book again? This one is The Sensory Child Gets Organized. And truth be told, I'm about to blow some spots. All these major YouTube influencers that do the clean with me or organize with me, they be taking this stuff from books like this, y'all. I kid you not. I'm on a couple of websites like the Autism Helper. That's a really good one. The Autism Helper, check out her. I know I talk a lot about autism. That's what I know. But she has kids with all kinds of different issues, and it works for all of them. This woman is amazing. She takes this and brings it to life, real life. She's real honest and practical. I love her. I need to try to get in contact with her. But she explains why she's doing that. She was like, oh, I do it this way because these two kids who have these issues, they actually read from the bottom up. And these kids do this. So when they get together, you wouldn't even think about those things, right? But they do. So these influencers on YouTube and on whatever, I see it, baby. I see it. They take from this. And these things have been around for decades. So nothing new is under the sun. Not hating on them, but I'm saying everything that's supposedly special needs now is really mainstream now, okay? Because the whole world is crazy. Yes, starting to notice the triggers. I'm telling you, to just help you get through the day, if you don't have the information, you're going to keep making mistakes. So that's why I said, let it get ugly, let it get messy. What do I got here? I don't care what it looks like. And broken pencil, crown, whatever, an eyebrow pencil, lip liner, just write it down. Just the time. Print out the time. You know what? I need to make a printable. Just a tracker so you can see whenever they eat, okay? This is what happens. At night, this is kind of their mood. They struggle at bedtime at 9:30, but at 7:30, curiously, they're a little bit more calm. You want to see those patterns. It's going to emerge. Not always pretty, but at least you're going to see a little bit of something, and you can work with that. Now for my shameless plug, is my niece who makes my lovely tumblers. I know you guys have asked about them. Kay's Creations, Kayz, Kreationz, 19. What up, niece? Looking out for you. Okay, so you have to have your bag of tools and your escape. Yes, girl, you need an escape plan if something happens. Seizures, SPD, that's right. And we're going to be talking about special needs on the go. Because a lot of times when you have a lot of services or you're just out and about in the community, you got to have your car and your bag. You got to be a Marine, a Navy SEAL, a Green Beret. You got to be able to think an hour, a day ahead. It's exhausting, but once you get into, you know what? I'm going to give you all my stuff, y'all. Because let me tell you, I got a military background. I know how to reconnaissance, watch stuff, look for exits. All of that. So we're going to get there. All right. Let me see. I messed up my notes. All right. What else we got? All right. So the disadvantage of homeschooling special needs is that burnout. And the burnout is real. Now, typically in the homeschool community, you have 2 seasons of burnout. One is October. And that's usually because, a lot of people start homeschooling in August and September. I'm not talking about you year-round homeschoolers. And by then, you've had about a good 2 months of figuring things out. The excitement's kind of wearing off. And now, if you're not in a routine, then you're kind of playing bootleg every day, right? Or you're finding out things are not working, or you're finding just your child. You're just not connecting with your child, right? So October starts the beginning of that burnout where you're like, your kids are like, oh man, we got to do this again, or you feel that way, or you kind of don't really plan and you just kind of just, wing it. And your kids know when you're kind of winging it and it's just, you don't really get that much done. Okay. And then around February, after the holiday season and all the money you done spent and feeling sad about that, bills are coming in and stuff like that. Then you start, we got how many more months left of this? So it's that burnout. Then you add on issues that your child has. Maybe they're financial, services cost money, we're in California, and I remember when my son was diagnosed, they didn't pay for autism services. If you had a diagnosis of autism, speech wasn't covered, occupational therapy wasn't covered. It got covered like 4 months in after our diagnosis. But for the families before, they had to mortgage their house. They had to borrow from their family. They had to take out a loan just to do the day-to-day. So things have come a long way. But even still, co-pays will get you the gas to get to where you need to go. If your child has certain issues, like, maybe they need assistive technology or certain kind of clothing or a certain diet, all of that costs money. So that burnout becomes real, just dealing with that. And then trying to not upset your other kids and give them attention so they don't feel like you're giving all to the child that has, the special needs. So that's a fine line. We all mess up that line, and it's okay. You just like my daddy always says, you rebound in life. You just reset, start over, maybe do a unit study, get outside to homeschool. Don't worry about books. Don't worry about worksheets. Don't worry about all that stuff. Just reconnect with your child. Okay. Let's see what else. Okay. Now, in those states that require records, especially if your child was in public school and you pull them out, you kind of want to get, you want to get a baseline of where they are. Okay. That's for any child, really. Okay. You just want to see, are they progressing, right? You want to have some kind of milestone or some kind of marker to denote that. That can be in any form. But for like a pre-assessment for academics, let's just say for academics, not for their condition, but for academics, I have no ego and no pride. I would start them at kindergarten and see what they can do, or first grade, or whatever age. Let me reset. When you're dealing with a child in front of you, a lot of times you have to forget age level. You got to focus on their cognitive level. A child who is 13 cognitively might operate at a 5-year-old level. So you have to, again, work with the child in front of you and give them material. Look, like my middle child, for spelling, I would give him 2 grade levels below, and I would just take a Sharpie or a sticker and I would cover the grade level on it, or just pull off the cover of the book, and he wouldn't even know the difference. Okay. But just to his honor and his pride, he wouldn't know what grade level he was working with. So you also want to teach to their cognitive level. So when you're trying to get like an assessment on them, that's why I think it's key. Don't be prideful. My child's in high school. I don't want to give them kindergarten stuff. Well, do you want your child to be successful in life? Don't worry about anybody else. If they're in kindergarten, hide the K and let them blow through it. Yeah, it might look babyish, but you know what? I like babyish looking stuff. Just say, hey, I just want to see, let me see how fast you can do this. This is a speed competition. Jedi mind trick them. They'll finish that like that, give them first grade, boom, 3rd grade. And then around 4th grade, hiccup. 2nd semester, 4th grade, pothole. Now you're seeing, okay, we kind of got to go back to maybe 4th grade with our learning. So you just want to kind of keep that in mind, because when you're dealing with states that are more in your business and they want records, the more information you have, the better you can manipulate the analytics, to take a football term or sports term, and give it to them. But also for you to know that, okay, I know my child does want to go to college, but he's really operating at a 5th grade level. So now I know between 5th grade and 12th grade, these years, I got to do, we got to do a little bit of work, and, keep it moving. But at least you have an idea of where they are realistically with your ego removed, and just give them the work. But listen, don't be afraid if your child is like 5 levels below, because Marva Collins, where's my Marva Collins book? Marva Collins, the guy who did Khan Academy, they were able to move their kids 5 grade, I'm not kidding, 5 grade levels above in a year, okay? In a year. Kids who had special needs, kids who were foster kids, had real issues, learning issues, you name it. Kids who were written off, they were able, with the love, key, high expectations that they could do it, constant affirmations, and then giving them work. They gave them stuff from kindergarten, and they went up because the person that was teaching them believed they could. So don't worry about the time frame. You can do a lot, but first you got to get that mindset right, mom, that mindset right, dad, all right? And once you believe that your child can do it, then eventually your child's going to pick up on that, and then you guys can, like, smooth sailing. All right, now, teaching tips. What time is it? Okay, 5:30. All right, Mandalorian. We have a 7:30 appointment with Mandalorian. All right, teaching tips. Okay, here's what worked for me. Now, I want you guys to put in your tips, because I'm gonna be taking notes with my pen from Christine, Christine Keys from the Handmade. From this homeschool house. Thank you, Christine. I'm going to show you what has worked for me and things that I've seen work for other people in therapy, in the classroom, and in their home. Okay, well, let me read some comments. Instagram says, yes, keeper of my home, get that ego out the way. That's right. Do you have any recommendations on how many subjects we should be doing every day, or how long we should do school? All right. Y'all want the politically correct answer, or you want the answer that's going to maintain your sanity, your child's sanity, and the household, so y'all can live another day? So if you want the latter, this is it. Now, if you're in a state and you got to turn in records, you just make sure you have a nice little, it looks good with all the subjects. Typically for elementary, it's like 30 to 45 minutes. And then for middle school, high school, like 50 to 55 minutes per subject, 5 days a week, which I think science might be 3 to 4 days a week. Just look at your state. Go to Homeschool Legal Defense Association. What is that? Homeschool, HSLDA.org. And they have a list of the legal requirements by state. So just look for your state, click on that, and it'll tell you everything you need to know, so you can keep the government out your business. So you just write that out and keep it off to the side in a notebook or a folder that you can easily find, and leave it there for them. Now, the off books, the off books of homeschooling, you got the on books for like the mob. You got the on the book stuff for the government, and then the off books for you. Like I said, now my child took 5 months to do fractions. That's because we did 3 minutes, break, 3 minutes, break, 3 minutes, break. So we got like maybe 10 minutes a day of math, but that was a success because that's what he needed. Again, teach that child, teach that baby in front of you. I don't care what the state says. The state's not sitting right here dealing with tantrums, head banging, depression, lethargicness. They're not dealing with that. So however long it takes for you to get through a lesson, you might find after teaching math for 15 minutes, you guys are both exhausted. Go do something fun. Go on a nature walk. Talk about a book you read. And that's your homeschool for the day. Live to tell the story the next day. The next day, maybe do a little bit more math or add in one more subject, okay? Your child will rebound in life. Right now, the most important thing is to get them to be curious and to want to learn and to be open to learning, okay? and not be focused on their condition, okay? You'll spend probably more of your time trying to get them in a right frame of mind than teaching academically, and that's fine. So that's a life skill that's going to go with them. So we're going to work on that. If we can mix in a little bit of math, spelling, science, that's good. If we only get homeschool done 3 times a week, and the other times we're out walking, running, whatever, you make that work for the season that you're in, and don't apologize and don't tell nobody your business. I'm serious. Don't, unless you're talking to another mom who's kind of in the struggle with you, don't be telling people your business, okay? Because if you're not confident in what you're doing, you'll crumble, you'll lose faith. And if you don't have a homeschool vision, you're going to have problems in your house, okay? So I hope that answered your question, keeper of my home. Do as much or as little as you can, okay? And keep it moving. Work to 30, 40 minutes a day, but it might take a whole semester to get there, but that's okay. Rather you do it organically than forcing it on your child with tears and yelling, and that's no good, okay? All right, let's see. Ooh, my goodness, you guys on YouTube, y'all come with the questions. Okay, I let my daughter show me what she is interested in, and we jump in. That's right. I get books on that subject, science on that subject, documentaries, vocabulary, art. However much she can do that day. You got it. You nailed it. However much they can handle and you can handle that day. And here's another thing, which brings me to another tip. And this is one thing that really helped me with my son. I got a boy, and then, he has ADHD, sensory processing disorder, and autism all rolled in. So it's a nice little gumbo, spicy mix. So for reading, in the beginning, too much text on a page, all right? Even for like the young readers, it was too much text on the page. So we would do story walks, right? Well, first we do a book walk. And that was, I would take books and put them on the stairs. Or if you're in the living room, you can put the books in a circle. And I was, hey, just walk around, and whatever book that looks interesting to you, hop on it. And then that's the book we're gonna talk about or read about. Okay, maybe choose 1 or 2 books. And he would do that. And then we would look at the book, the pictures, the front of the book, the back of the book, open up the book. He would like scratch it to see how the paper felt and everything. He had his own little ritual. My only thing was, when we would read, and most times I would read, but as I was trying to get him to start reading, I would say, okay, well, say he was into Geronimo Stilton. So they had something about, some mice going on a bike hike across the country. All right, so we're going to talk about mice. They're going to Mount Rushmore, and one of the mice is too fat, and he's going to give him problems because he's going to be out of breath. So we would go outside, and he looked at the book, though, because it had pictures in it. So we would go outside, walk around the neighborhood, and we would just talk about the book. What do you think is going to happen? Man, he's real big. Does he need to lose weight? Why does he need to lose weight? He's going to get on that bicycle. You think he's going to fall down? And we would just make stories about it. But we still, we would talk about what we thought the book was about. Or if we read a little bit about the book, maybe just the first couple of paragraphs in that chapter, we would go for a walk, and I would ask him questions, and he would, answer them. He would ask me questions. He would be the teacher, and I would answer. And of course, I kind of get things wrong. Mom, that's not how it happened. And then also, I would have him retell something. So we read like the first chapter. We got past that. We would go out for a walk. Hey, tell me about chapter 1. Was there a spaceship over the Mount Everest? Just throw out some crazy stuff that didn't happen. And that was how he got his exercise movement, because he needed that to help him calm down. And then we had that bonding time. He always looked forward to that. And then he was starting to get the comprehension the further we got along in the book. Bring your other kids as well. Let them run ahead of whatever, but you're talking to that kid. And he's starting to get the wheels turning and thinking. But the main thing is he's making a positive association between reading, mom, and me. Okay? So we did story walks. We did a lot of dance moves. We did a robot. We did a Cabbage Patch. Like when you're learning facts and songs and things like that. you had to talk in like a robotic sound, or you had to be a baby, or you had to be an English person, just making it silly, just being silly. If you got a couch, my child loved to read upside down. He would be on the couch, head facing the floor, just reading. How long can you do that? The blood's not rushing to your head? He could do it for like maybe 5 minutes. Just thinking out the box for learning. Whether your kid has physical ability, physical issues, you could, if your child is wheelchair bound, he can talk funny. He can still groove in his chair. If he's paralyzed from the neck down, he can move his eyes. Give me 2 blinks, baby. You can take it as silly, just be stupid, silly as much as you can. Okay. Also, we use whiteboards. I realized that my children like to write standing up, or rather they would do more writing if they were standing up. So I got a really big whiteboard. You don't need that. You can get butcher paper and tape it to your wall or to a door, and they can do their work up there. They ain't got to write on some paper, notepad paper or a composition book. Go have them write on the wall. Put the paper on the door, on the closet, on the inside of the closet or the bathroom, and just let them have at it. Just get it written down. Take a picture of it. File it away. It's part of their work. Okay. And then I'll give you 3 more things, and then I'm going to go on to my last thing, and then we'll wrap it up for today. Audiobooks. I love this one. Now, if your kids, and it doesn't matter their age, but at least when my kids in elementary, we had great success with the series of unfortunate events, Geronimo Stilton, the Magic Tree House, the Boxcar Children, and I'm only listing those because they have like at least 1 million books in the series. So you're not really going to run out of books to listen to. Now those audiobooks can get a little pricey. I bought them because when my kids were like, they were just color or write listening to it, and I was like, oh my God, this is working. I was like, I would not buy a pair of shoes, get my hair done, my nails done. I'm buying audiobooks. So I did find a lot of them. The audiobooks are read on YouTube. Okay. Sometimes you have to watch out because they might be pulled, but YouTube, check them first. And then audiobook, like the one with Amazon, you get like 1 or 2 books a month. That could work. But if you have a lot of kids, you might have to decide who's going to get what that month. But I would look for like just free versions of it, of teachers reading it. And then, maybe along the line, get 1 or 2 for your, through a real audiobook. But definitely audiobooks. One, if you have the book, this will help, especially if you're doing Shakespeare or something a little bit above their reading level for your 2E kids. Say your kid is reading Immanuel Kant. He's into philosophy or whatever. Play the audiobook and have your child read along. They're picking up that vocabulary. I think organically learning vocabulary through great books and reading, to me, is great than a program that's neither here nor there. But they can listen and read at the same time. Or, if they're, they got Legos, or, they want to paint their nails, or they want to draw something, whatever. But the kids listen, and they need that time to have that imagination to just visualize what they're hearing. Give them a chance to do that, because kids don't get that anymore. And so they're dumb as a box of rocks. They can't think outside the box because they have no resources to pull from, because they haven't had stories deposited in them, right? All right, let me see. Kat. Hey, Kat, this is helping me. Thank you. This is my first year of homeschooling. Welcome, Kat. I hope all is going well. My son is 13 and has autism and dyslexia. Now, I have a mom. She's actually my best friend. She had dyslexia, and she wasn't diagnosed until college. But she is a wealth of information, because once she had that, she was like, okay, I'm ready for it. Anybody's child is my child. I'm going to help them out. So I think I'm going to have her on and interview her about that. But yes, so 13, you're dealing with hormones and puberty on top of your other issues. So I feel you. If you have any specific questions, please put them in here or in the comments, and we'll all try to give you, some advice, something for you to work on. Okay. Homeschool Castle, thank you. I need to do more of the physical stuff while we learn. I usually have her go in her body sock while we learn. Oh, I love the body socks. Now, that will be for another video. Devices, manipulatives, assistive technology, things you can use with your child. We had, what do we call it? It's like a body sock, but it was a swing. But we had one where, you know, it's kind of tight on you, so it gives you that compression all throughout your body. And I actually like it. Like, it's almost like those compression sleeves that those athletes wear. It really does something to your body. I don't know what it is, but it's like going back to the womb. Your body just kind of knows. And so it's like, oh, okay, we're back in mommy, so we're good. All right. Jessica, welcome. First year homeschool mom, another firstie. My 8-year-old was just diagnosed with ADHD and dyslexia. Unit studies have been our best friend so far, all child directed. Yes, check out my video. I think it was last week I put up on how to put together a unit study plan. Now this is actually part of my space unit study plan. Now, those of you who watch my video, please go watch it, get my views up. I talked about micro versus macro. Now, I say you can do one or the other, but actually you can do both. And that's what I did with this unit, not this one, but it was part of a unit study. So the first week was starting with the micro, was the moon. Second week was the solar system. The third week was our galaxy. And then the fourth week was the universe. So we went from the moon to the planets to the Milky Way, all different. That was fun. The Milky Way, we did all the different kind of galaxies. And then the universe was, it was like the big questions. You know, we talked about different theories, like of how the universe came into being and stuff like that. So, but we did, so the activity for the first week was making the moons with Oreos. And then for the solar systems, we made a mobile. And then for the universe, with the galaxies, we would have hot cocoa, and we would swirl with like the little cream to make different kinds of spirals of the galaxy, because so many different kinds of spirals. So really, really fun. And then we did, you know, night watching and stuff like that. So you can go, like I said, unit studies can salvage a bad day, a semester. You know, you just need a reboot. Some people just, that's all they do for their homeschool are unit studies. And I'm all for that, all for that. This is some very good info. Game nerd mom garden. Ooh, do you garden? You had me a garden. And you're a nerd. Oh, I love you. My son is 9 and went to charter school. Teaching from home is so hard. I'm so glad I found you. Well, I hope this is helping. And if you have any specific questions, please let me know. We did a charter homeschool for a couple of years. So I know, I don't know if yours is a charter homeschool, but you know, charters are their own entity in dealing with stuff. Jessica, yes, they've definitely taken us away from the daily meltdown. So for your child who's having issues, so here are some other things that you can do with them that I've done. When my kids were younger, sensory bins. Nowadays, people just do too much. You know, they got these lighted tables and, you know, and they had them in preschool, but, you know, all that kind of stuff. Sensory bins are just like a Sterilite, you know, plastic container. You could add lights to it, but you just put like sand or rice or beans, those little beads that when you get wet, they expand. Anything that's tactile for your child. That's how I taught my children their alphabets. We use flashcards with like sandpaper on it for the letters. And then because my child had to feel, he liked the texture of the sandpaper, right? So that was something tactile for him. But to put a switch on it, a spin on it, I would be like, okay, well, we got to really work on your coordination. So do the tracing as you walk up the stairs. You know, once he was real comfortable with it, so I had to slow him down. And I was working on him being able to focus, and to walk from the bottom step to the landing was about 4 or 5 seconds. All right. Believe me, that was a challenge in the beginning. And so walking up the stairs, doing his letters was 5 seconds, but he had to concentrate so he wouldn't trip on the stair. Right. well, we had carpet on the time, so he tripped and he would have been fine, maybe lose a tooth. But he focused and he was moving. So he was doing fine motor skills and gross motor skills with his legs. So that's something you can do. But sensory bins are great. You can get a shoebox, right? And just have your child, trace their letters in there. Or if they're writing, they can write a sentence, a very basic sentence, or their grammar or spelling. Hey, write down all the subject pronouns that you remember, or your object pronouns. They can write it in that, and not with beans, or they can take the beans out and just, spell out a word. Don't matter their age, right? Because your child could be 13, and that works for them. Maybe your child is 15, and they're learning Latin prefixes or whatever. Pull out a bag of beans from the dollar store and have them write out all those prefixes with those beans, okay? Don't think that glue and scissors and glitter is just for the elementary sect. It is not. And finally, music and aromatherapy. All right. Now, look, I have in a previous video, I talk about aromatherapy, but you see how I need to decalcify this, but it gets used a lot. I have so many oils right now. We're rocking with like hot cocoa smell oil. Is this it right here? No, that's my magnolia. It's my jasmine. Where's my hot cocoa? Oh, anyway, and my kids love it. It instantly calms them down. Now you have certain essential oils that will kind of, rev them up, like orange, citrus stuff, things like that. But you can mix, you can blend the oils depending on what kind of mood you want your child in. Maybe your child's very lethargic, or they're feeling kind of down. You want something to pick them up. So a nice citrus, lime or orange kind of blend, orange blossom or something like that. Lemon is something good to lift them up. Or if you need to bring them down, you want, maybe like a clove or a cinnamon. Well, cinnamon gets a little tricky, but you want something to like bring them down. Sage is good. So, but the sensory, whether you're using oils or incense, not hippy dippy stuff, the stuff works. I personally prefer essential oils and in the diffuser because it really permeates the room or the house, right? And then just seeing the steam, the cool steam coming out, visually is can be calming to your children. Also, we have a fish tank with no fish in it. But my kids like listening to the pump, the water. It's white noise. I was going to turn it off. I'm like, that's just wasting electricity. Like, oh, Mom, I like hearing the sound. It's just become like a blanket for them. So when your kid is in a room, if you can have a space where it's calm and relaxing, have a little plant, put out some little oxygen, green, make it visual, maybe some aromatherapy, and music. I have a whole suite of music, like all the great composers in opera. Don't poo-poo opera. A lot of that opera will soothe the savage beast. It really will. I'm definitely making a video on that because my kids love it. And it really can calm you down. Also, when your child's getting ready for bed, you can play that as they go to sleep or while they're sleeping. That they have that affirmation meditation kind of music while you're sleeping. You deposit positive information to the subconscious level, and eventually kind of seeps in, and your kids start responding to that. So I think that's it for that. Let me take some more comments. Oils every day here too. Yes, I love oils. Now make sure you don't get some raggedy oils with a whole bunch of virgin oil and a drop of an essential oil. I get 2 kinds of oils. I get Acacia, and I just found, I'm gonna make that for another video because this one's long. I do have a video, I think, on essential oils. Look through my archive. I know I talk about aromatherapy, but I'll do a video on my favorite brands and my favorite blends of oils for all kinds of situations, okay? I also have a diffuser for my car. I got a ring diffuser, and I have a watch diffuser. I have a watch one for my son when he was in public school at the charter homeschool. He had the watch, the face would lift up, and then you would put the little fabric soaked with the oil in it. And then anytime he was kind of feeling, he would just, he had everybody in his class wanting some because it really calmed him down. Yes. Let's see. I'm going to look into essential oils. Man, don't sleep on essential oils. Oh, yes, the Orbeez, the little beads that they're like microscopic, and then you wet them and then they get bigger. I actually have an old bag. I wonder if they'll still work. What a neat unit study. Thank you, Keeper. My kiddos don't have autism, but I do have friends with kiddos with autism. Is there anything I can do to support my friend as a mom? Girl, bless you. If there were more people like you, you know what? Be her ear, her shoulder, and non-judgmental. That goes a long, long way, because a lot of times we moms have feelings of doubt and guilt and resentment and anger, sometimes all in the same day within a minute. So just letting her know, hey, girl, anytime you need a vent, you need a pity party, go on and call me. Let me know if it's going to be a fast food version where you just need to just get it off your chest, or if it's going to be an entree, appetizer, entree, dessert kind of long thing, because that means we're going to have to get something to eat, FaceTime, and just eat and talk it through, okay? You got to figure out what kind of situation you're dealing with. But watch out. You don't want the energy vampires, okay? You might have to support her from afar, sending her little positive affirmations in the morning, or just calling to check in. Or if you guys are kind of close together in the city, I don't know how with her child on the spectrum, if he's mild, moderate, or severe, but hey, could her child come over to your house and have a play date with your kids, and give her a break, to do something. So, but just being there for her, that's the best thing that you can do, keeper of my home, because I know for me, just being able to talk to someone, even if they didn't have kids, but they just got my feelings, right, was half the battle, because I just wanted to be heard, right? So that's a great question. That's a great comment, actually. Okay, let's see. Necklace diffusers. I've seen those. I haven't bought them, but I want to get one of those, Jessica. I want to get my son one for the car for motion sickness. That would be a great ideal. Yes, I used to get motion sickness and vertigo in the car, and I wish I had something like that to help me out back then. That was when I lived in New York, and I was just like, every time I was in a taxi, I would get vertigo. Ugh, maybe it's the dirty taxi cab. I don't know. Let's see. I forgot to mention. Oh, wait, hold on. Oh, you guys are really chatting it up. Okay. Yes, this is Kat. Yes, thank you. He is behind in reading comprehension, but almost on grade level for math. Okay. So reading, oh my God, reading to me, that's my favorite subject. Well, one of my favorite subjects to teach, but it's the one where you can be so active with it. You can do the most with it. That's what I'm saying. Because all you have to do is just have a book or an idea, and then you can go anywhere with it. Y'all can go jogging together. Y'all can sit down, do sit-ups, put your feet. Hope my foot's not dirty. Hold on. Let me make sure my foot's dirty. If my foot's dirty, it's because I got a garden patio out there, not because my floors are dirty, but if they were. So, he puts his foot up against yours, or she does, and y'all do sit-ups, and every time you come up, what's the character in chapter 1? Blackbeard, what place? Where does it take place? Every time you come up, you ask a question, or they're answering a question, or they're telling you something silly about the story, or a prediction, it's just so many things you can do with reading comprehension, where you don't have to write it down and have that output. You can just be with your child and enjoy them. Or you're cooking. Every time say you're making some brownies, every time he's got that spatula going around, one revolution. Gotta tell me one thing about the story. What's your biggest takeaway? Or what was the stupidest thing in that, or what was the most surprising thing? I gotta give you guys a list of great questions to ask for reading comprehension. And eventually your child will start to know those questions, and they'll start to look for those answers while they're reading. Oh, they'll at least know, because now they'll they'll be triggered because they're so used to hearing the question, but they're having fun doing something that it's like, oh, you know, so it's not even learning to them. Okay. So it's got Jedi mind trick them. All right. What else? Cat. I just ordered some fun schooling items today and the dyslexic game series. I've heard good things about that. So let us know what you think about that. I need to have my girlfriend come on because she knows all the games, all the little hacks, all the ways that kids cope with dyslexia. So I'll definitely, that will be on my, look, let me write that down with my little fancy pen. That's something that we need to follow up on. Okay. All right, cool. Okay, let's see. My son is autistic. He was diagnosed at 3, and I struggle with the most. I struggle the most with writing. He's a perfectionist. Oh, girl, you're talking about my son. He's a perfectionist, and I guard it. Oh my God, we're like in a parallel universe. Game Nerd Mom. Okay, so listen, watch my video, Game Nerd Mom Garden, on my writing curriculum. Finally found something. I'm wearing polka dots and I'm holding it up. It's writing and rhetoric. My son, my third one, oh Lord, he had me on my knees. He was reluctant and he was a perfectionist. He knew it wasn't spelled right. He just didn't know how it looked correct, but he knew when it was wrong and he couldn't get past that and go to the next word. Couldn't do it. Then his handwriting was like kind of weak. So, Lord, watch that video on how I flipped that for him. But for the writing, I actually have, that's going to be a principle coming in the future because I had these really great designed printables for handwriting, and you can differentiate on the page. Okay, so your child can see his growth with his writing. So let me just make a note of that, because guys, I have writing differentiated printables. I have so many things that I created because back then teachers pay teachers wasn't really popping. So it was nothing for me just to like create something myself. So now I just got to like kind of like jazz it up with some borders and some clip art and it's ready to go. All right, let's see. He gets focused. He gets so focused on being right and gets so mad at himself when he messes up. You know what? Jedi mind trick him. Tell him, I'm going to need you to mess up 5 times today, okay? Because every time you mess up, your brain gets stronger, your brain gets bigger. How big you want your brain to be today, baby, okay? So it's okay to struggle. Especially in math, they want you to get comfortable with struggling because a lot of times, you know, those equations going to knock you out. And if you give up easily, if you get frustrated easily, you're not going to get anywhere. So, and this is a life skill, learning to struggle with dignity and respect and perseverance, right? So, and that's what we're doing here with homeschooling with special needs. We are struggling, y'all, but how are you going to struggle? You're going to struggle, lips poked out, you know, bad attitude, you know, poverty mindset. Or are you going to be like, I don't know how it's going to happen, but I got faith that we're going to get through this day or we're going to get through this lesson. And then tomorrow's going to be another day. We're going to keep on fighting. No, oh, today was horrible. But you know what? I can start over tomorrow. Have short-term memory. Just like those big quarterbacks in the NFL, they have a bad day. They throw 5 interceptions. Brady. Next day, he's like, I'm looking forward to the next week's game. They have to have short-term memory. You got to have on blinders like the horses, okay? That was yesterday. I'm not going to worry about that. And then move on to the next challenge, all right? Aaron, I had to leave and came back. No, there's no in and out privileges, Aaron. You got to stay here the whole time. Did you talk about diet changes? We kind of briefly talked about it, but I didn't go in depth with dietary issues. Is there anything specific you want to know about diet changes? I know with my son, and it actually became with our whole family. Oh, hold on. I think I have the book right here. Oh, here we go. Okay. Whew. Sorry, guys. I have my boobies all in the camera. Okay. Gut and psychology syndrome. This little baby here, you see, look what it talks about. Autism, dyslexia, ADHD, whatever, schizophrenia, depression. Basically, this book is saying your brain is in your stomach, right? And you mess up the lining in your stomach, you know, leaky guts, all kinds of stuff. It's like a thunderstorm all throughout your body, right? So even the littlest things in your food can trigger, and it just keeps snowballing. And because we consume so many things that have so many things in it, sometimes it's kind of hard to find out what the villain is and what you eat. So again, we go back to tracking, you know, what it is that you're eating, and when are you eating it, and how are you feeling, and what foods can heal you. I got another book on healing foods. What kind of foods can heal you depending on how you're feeling. You're talking about vitamin deficiencies. My children were deficient in zinc, magnesium, and selenium, and that played a role in some of their behaviors, right? Vitamin D is another big one. Kids don't get outside anymore. Synthetic is fine, but we want, you know, the good stuff from the sun. So, you know, mineral and vitamin deficiencies play a role in behaviors that you're seeing with your children. So, and that's definitely another video. I want to take you to my kitchen, and I want to show, this is real life. I'm gonna show you my cabinet. I'm gonna show you what I feed my kids. And some of it's, I got bad stuff in my fridge, in my cabinets. While I also have a lot of good stuff too. And the supplements that we take when I garden, I replenish the soil with selenium, because I know in America, the soil is so depleted that to get a lot of these trace minerals, you have to get foods that are grown in different countries, like Brazil. To get selenium, you need to get raw nuts from Brazil, because the soil in Brazil has a higher selenium content. And so anyway, so for diet changes, Erin, that's really kind of what we talked about, but I'm definitely going to have a video just on that, because to me, I find diet in general is the manifestation of a lot of our ills in this world. And just subtle changes, consistent changes can really make a difference in your life. Seriously. All right. Let's see. My daughter and I have the necklace diffusers. Okay, I read that one. We are in New York. Okay. My ideal of support sometimes is just to let me know you were thinking of me. Yes, Erin is talking about how can a friend help a mom who's struggling with special needs, or even a special gift just for me. Yes, folks seem to seem to get things for my kids and not for me. I love bath time items. That's another good point that you raised up, Erin. So if you're thinking of a mom who is dealing with special needs child, you know she's not doing anything for herself. Look, if I was in a struggle and my girlfriend went to Target and got this for $5.99, I'd be like, look, I would have on a shirt that was on backwards with the tag hanging out. I would put this on. Like, someone thought about me. And at least this part of my whole body looks cute. All this is going to be busted and tore up, but right here is going to look cute. Maybe a little lip gloss. You don't got to spend a lot of money. You know, maybe she might like nail polish. Sally Hansen. Now this one's like $7, but the regular Sally Hansen that's like $2.99. I actually have that on here. Something as little as that, or a Starbucks gift card, you know, so she can get out the house and get her some doggone coffee, you know, just something just to let her know, hey girl, I'm just thinking about you, you know. All right, when my kiddos, Momentum Mom, hey hun, when my kiddo says he is not good at something, tell him to add yes to the end of the statement. That's good. I also say, well, who told you that lie? You let me find them, because I'm gonna put some hands on them. We're gonna dance. You know, who is lying to you? And it better not be you. You know, and then you tell them, yeah, you can't do it yet. You know, those kids who are perfectionists, or they just, you know, kind of have, you know, their self-esteem is kind of low. Those daily affirmations. As a matter of fact, you can go on Amazon. They sell these posters They cost like $9, $7. If you want a frame, they're like $12. And they have all these nice affirmations. I would go get it, but it's downstairs. Hold on, let me just remind myself to put affirmation posters. Because I'm like, look, I'm going to have stuff everywhere, and it just needs to seep in through osmosis. But I have all these posters, and it has all these different affirmations, and some of them have pictures of like a little cub tiger looking in the pond, and he sees a big old Asian white tiger, you know, one of those big, grand, gorgeous looking tigers. And so it's like, hey, you know, you might feel small and insignificant, but if you think you're a raging tiger, you know, you can do it. So, you know, it's that constant just reaffirming that they are special, they are unique, and what they bring to the world, no one else can bring in, and don't let nobody lie to them, right? And quickly get that out the universe and bring in some positive stuff. All right, let's see. I noticed food sensitivities with mine. I haven't done enough with that to start working on it. You know what? Honestly, food sensitivities and food allergies, I don't know if that's a difference or if it's just a matter of semantics, but I always thought that food sensitivities would be things that might kind of make you feel bad, but don't really like mess up your whole day. They don't really mess up the flora in your body and your biochemistry. I'm not sure. But again, it's, you know, trying certain things. It's actually eliminating certain foods until you kind of find out what the culprit is. And that takes time. It takes a number of weeks to get it done. And look, don't start doing this during the Thanksgiving and Christmas holidays and New Year's Eve, because January. Have fun, just kind of eyeball them and see. And then start in January, you know, unless, you know, even if you don't celebrate the holidays, you still like to cook. So keep that in mind. Okay, I would love the kitchen tour. I need help on this. Yes. Oh, you know, in my last video, I think it was my special needs. Yeah, my special needs video. I have a book on superfoods smoothies. That's a good book. That book really should go with this book, because you're like, say, honestly, guys, if you can, there are labs where you don't have to go through a doctor or anything, where you can get tests or a panel done to see what your deficiencies are, like for all your minerals, your vitamins, minerals. That's mainly it. But I think there might be another component of that panel. The more you spend, the more they'll check. But at least for the vitamins, you can see what you're deficient in. And then you look and see what is linked to those deficiencies, right? I'm anemic. I have to take iron, and I have to take it with vitamin C. And actually, this is not my favorite brand, but when I'm really low, and I was low because I was sick, and then I had the shoulder tear. Yeah, see, I'm not wearing my ice pack. My physical therapy is working. I didn't do the surgery. My food, my turmeric and all that. But this one deposits the iron, because it takes like about at least 6 weeks to get your iron stores up when you're low. And this one does it the fastest. So it's not my favorite kind of iron to take, but it gets the job done. And then I go back to my foods and maintain my iron levels with my foods. But when I'm anemic, I'm lethargic, and I get brain fog, and I forget a lot what I'm doing, and it affects my homeschooling. That's why I have this here, because I was sick and I was bum shoulder, and then I was low on iron, and I was like, what are we doing again today? Now, luckily my kids are honest, because they could have been like, Mom, we're done homeschool. What are you talking about? Go get some rest. And I'll be like, oh, okay. But superfood smoothies. So we're going to do a kitchen tour. The good and the bad. I'm going to try to clean up the kitchen a little bit. But I want you guys to see that I talk about having the arsenal for homeschooling. You got to have the arsenal in your kitchen as well. Okay. All right, let's continue. How did you know to have your kids tested for those deficiencies? Okay, girl, once you get in that special needs community and you start reading all the forums and you see all the other parents doing stuff like this, and then like, oh, I made this connection and this and this and this. And you start thinking, you know, my kid kind of does this too, or he has these similar symptoms. And so I went ahead and got my son tested, and then I had all my other kids tested as well. They didn't have any allergies or anything, but they were all deficient in vitamin D. So, and I suspected that. So I just wanted just to see, I also wanted to see if there were things that I hadn't even considered that they might be deficient in based on their diet. Because, you know, every once in a while, you know, you got kids who are picky eaters, or they might just want to eat the same thing over and over. So, you know, they might have some deficiencies in something. Or your kid does eat, you know, enough to get all of these vitamins and minerals, but they don't synthesize them. So, like, if I didn't know that you need to take vitamin C so your body can easily absorb the iron, this would just be like eating candy. So, so just knowing that, or you might have things that are hereditary, or things that you might be deficient in based on where you live in the world, right? So if you're living in like the Scandinavian countries or Northern Europe, you know, you're not getting a vitamin D. So, you know, that's something you're going to have to supplement your body with. Or if you're in parts of the country where the soil is really, really depleted, and the food is very, you know, genetically modified. So you're getting synthetic vitamins and things like that. Like, think of cereal boxes where it says fortified vitamin B12, B6, and all of that. Your body might really need the real version of that, not the synthetic version. So it's just kind of like a nice little snapshot to see what's going on inside your body, right? So, so you can never have too much information going on with your body. And also, when I realized that I was really, really anemic, when I'm really anemic, my cycles are really, really heavy. So again, when you get the information, you can start making connections to other things going on in your body. Oh, I'm starting to feel like some thyroid issues, or why is my hair thinning out, or why are my nails brittle? You know, why am I constipated all the time? You know, you start looking at, you know, zinc, typical culprits, the usual suspects, you know, deficiencies in zinc, magnesium, calcium, vitamin D, B12. All of those things can really wreak havoc on your body. Okay. We use diet and food as medicine to exactly our homeschool castle. Food, whole foods, that is your medicine. We just got our special needs daughter blood drawn. Yes, she's low in D, which we give her every day, but it's not the same as going outside. I know it's hard, but you know, we use the brands I like for supplements is it's a green label, it's green top, is something fusion. Oh, it's the best tasting supplements. They're gummies, but they're so good. My kids love taking them, and I'm not really big into like gummies, but I see the difference with those supplements. So I really like that brand. It's something fusion. I'll look at that when we do the kitchen tour, because you'll see them all in my cabinet. I'm big on teas as well, turmeric teas, or taking a tincture or a concoction of garlic with milk, or with orange juice or pineapple juice. Just little things. Sometimes, guys, these are things you have to do for the rest of your life. It's preventative stuff. Like, I know in my family, at our last family reunion, we had ladies in their hundreds in jogging suits. Like, what? They take stuff every day for the rest. They've been doing it for like 50, 60 years. Skin looks good, but they're alert here, in their spirits. But they're just things you just have to do to your body, because our bodies are under assault from the air, from the water, from the environment, the noise, the lights. It's constant assault. So we just have to kind of have something to help our body be able to fight against that. Okay, let's see. Yes, you can ask your doctor to test. Yes, you can absolutely do that. Or you can go to like Quest Labs. I know they're here on the West Coast. I don't know the main labs over on the East Coast or in the South, but you can just look up like testing labs, and you can find the one nearest to you and see what they charge to do like a panel. I forget what the panels are called, but it's something panel. It just depends on how much you want to have tested. And you can go that route as well if you want to save a visit to the doctor's office. because all you're really doing is just having your blood drawn. So it's not something, crazy. Okay, it's good to know where they are and then test again after you have added vitamins and minerals. Exactly. Because that's how you can find out. Like if I knew, I do the test, I find out I'm low in iron, and then I'm like, oh, okay, let me start gobbling up iron. And then 6 weeks later, I go test and my iron's still low. I'm gonna be like to my doctor, or I'll be online, why is my iron still low? I've been taking 2 vitamins a day every day for 6 weeks. Why are you taking it with vitamin C? Because that's the way your body, absorbs it. And then you're like, oh, okay. So yeah, so having the test and then testing again to see, if what you're doing is working. And then once you know, you're set for life with that one thing. And then you just kind of add to other things that might start ailing you. As a woman of a particular age, you start falling apart. So, you kind of want to start knowing how to shore up the broken, run-down, rusty parts of your body. Okay, the doctor will give you a recommendation of how much to give them based on their test results. Yes, so if you want to go through a doctor, absolutely get that going, get that started, and then you're operating with some information you can do something with. Yes, you are anemic and you bleed very heavily. Yes, and so and there's nothing like bleeding really heavy, and then you realize your kids have 20 activities that week, and you're like, oh. You start looking for the shirts that you can wrap around you like this that hang down. It's like, oh man, how many tampons and pads do I have to put on? So yeah, that's why let me get my iron back up. All right. Okay, so it is 1:41. I mean, we've been on for an hour and 41, and Mandalorian and some supper is waiting for me. I'm gonna take about 5 more. Oh, y'all, I didn't even finish the rest. See, y'all got me talking too much. I didn't finish the rest of my notes. All right. Okay, so I was gonna talk about testing and IEPs, but we'll just say that for another video, because for some of you who are like, we're just completely homeschooling on our own, you're not worrying about IEPs. But if you are thinking about, even remotely, that your child might want to go to college, you want to put some things into place so they're fine when they get ready to apply or when they start to test, like their standardized tests. And also on that level, I'll talk about alternative college options that are colleges that are test optional. So if your kid is not a testing child, and neurotypical children are like that too, they just don't test well, there are options for you. And also, getting college credit at home, through programs like Steady.com and CLEP. Steady.com uses like CLEPing out of classes, things like that. So we have lots of alternatives now. It's a good time to be a homeschooler for sure. But for IEPs, if you guys want to talk about that, we can do that in another video. I've been a low-key advocate for IEPs for the families that I know around here, just because I know how to write an IEP. I know how I know the formula, how it should be put together, and what's a good one and what's a poor one and what's an okay one. The best one being, okay, your child's actually going to be able to reach these expectations, these goals, these objectives. And then the ones that are like best, that mean absolutely nothing. And I know how to write goals and objectives. That's the most important thing in your IEP. Everything else is just, don't even worry about it. But writing realistic and measurable goals and objectives, I know how to do, and I can look at and that was really what I was doing. I was just looking at other people's IEPs and say, oh, cross this out, make sure they add this in, and then going from there. So in that respect, I can look at an IEP and make sure that it is aligned with what the child can realistically do, and we can go from there. Okay. Wow, that's so interesting. Last week, for the first time, I took naps 3 days in a row while I was on my monthly cycle. I need to do some research. Put some time into yourself, guys, because different times of the year or the season, we don't even know it. It just sneaks up on us. And our body is like, girl, come on, do, slow down, sit down. And, sometimes it's our body's way of just trying to get our attention. So yes, that might be a keeper of my home body. Like, come on, girl. Okay. All right. Any more questions? I'm not taking Mona. Hey, honey. I got your, let me know if you got your Instagram. I sent you something on Instagram. I am not taking any iron, but I'm trying to eat food rich in iron. Yeah, so make sure you're taking food rich in vitamin C. It can be, I take pineapple juice with my iron. But you do that, orange juice or a vitamin C supplement, but make sure you do something with the iron so your body can grab all the iron and you don't just pee it out. But yeah, also knowing, the foods that are rich in vitamins and elements, trace elements is good. So, you can kind of have it on hand, or what stores to go to get it, or you can just grow it in your backyard and you'll be good. I know my house staples: ginger, turmeric, garlic, pineapple juice, cranberry juice, just things. Those are staples. Like salt, butter, milk, pepper are staples to other people. Okay. An IEP might be helpful for SAT and college student services. Yes. So for those of you who are thinking that, even if it's just a distant thought, you should just do it. I say just plan for it. And if you don't do it, you're fine. But if you decide to do it and you don't plan for it, then you're going to be doing a lot of jump roping and jumping through hoops to kind of figure things out. But yeah, so I know with standardized testing, you can definitely get some accommodation. So you want to get that documentation going, as early as possible. And also for getting services in college. So you come in with, your documentation, then it's harder for them to deny you or to give you less than, because then it's a violation of your ADA and all the other rights that come with a child with a disability. So, and that's something we can discuss later too, because I do a lot of record keeping. I mean, when you're getting a lot of services, you just have a stack of folders or binders full of, all the work that comes with that. But yes, so, and it doesn't matter when you get the IEP, right? Whether it's elementary, middle school, or high school. But, if you suspect that your child might need one, go explore it, see, get them tested, see what's, what how they approach you, especially if you're homeschooling and you want to get something from the school. It could be you just want that IEP, but you don't want any services from them. Maybe just maybe you want a consultation service where you kind of check in or whatever. So there are lots of ways to slice that, but that's definitely another topic, because IEPs can get really complicated really, really fast. All right. Any more comments or questions? I'm going to wrap this up, and maybe not tonight, but tomorrow, I'm going to put a poll up. I'll throw out a few suggestions, but I want you guys to add something if you don't see anything that I put up, and let me know what you want the next Friday hot topics to be. And then I'll choose by Wednesday. So I'll have a couple days to put together resources and maybe some books and stuff like that, so I can come more prepared than today and talk about that. I think from the last poll, financing your homeschool and then homeschool burnout were the other two top choices. So if you're still interested in that, you can go ahead and vote. I'll put up the poll. I might put it up tonight, but definitely tomorrow, so you can check that out. And if I have over 100 people, I see the analytics afterward. You guys don't see it, but after I end this, I see all the playbacks, people who just, while I'm live, they just go back to the beginning of the video. And so it's like a whole bunch of people. So if I have over 100 people, I will do another freebie giveaway. So that's my thank you to you guys for giving me your time on a Friday. All right. So yes, Monument Mom, everyone stay well, love on yourself, you know, turn off the TV and the news and just enjoy your family and yourself. Get, you know, take care of yourself, read a book, just find a hobby, do something for you. So I love you guys. Peace. This is Nikki with that Homeschool Life. Don't forget your free Phases of the Moon. It's in the description box. Let me know if you have problems downloading it. You shouldn't, but let me know. So you got this, and then also your daily homeschool schedule checklist for all you ADHD and ADD moms, parents, or whatever, or just like, I'm just trying to get through the day. It's simple, to the point, and it works. And then you also have a record of your work. That is free. That is in my description box as well. And don't say I never gave y'all nothing for free. So with all that said, I'm out. Oh, Lord, somebody's asking me another question. I'm trying to get out of here. Okay, what time on Fridays? So I do 4:30 West Coast time, 7:30 East Coast time. So 7:30 East Coast time, 6:30 Central time, 5:30 Mountain time, 4:30 West Coast time. Now see how early I have to get in here? I gotta do my little face, put on a nice shirt. So really, I'm getting ready by 3:30. I got to type in all this stuff. So, but if you guys want to meet later, if you have preferred times, if I see a bunch of people want a specific time, then I'm okay with changing it. We could even do Saturday. So, you know, if you want, you know, to just kind of have it more of a lounge-like kind of affair on like a Saturday, we bring some snacks, some drinks, whatever. We, you know, shoot the breeze. I might do Instagram because that way I can bring in people if they want to talk. Actually, no, I can do it on a streaming platform where I can do YouTube or Instagram. So I'll double check that. But yeah, so if you have suggestions, you know, I'm game. And if it's cool, you know, I'll implement that. So, so Fridays, 4:30 West Coast time, 7:30 East Coast time. Yes, 5:30 Mountain time. All right. All right, guys, I'm out of here. I hope you guys found some value in this. Go up Instagram, go over to my homeschool channel to get your free Phases of the Moon 7-day activity sheet and the daily homeschool plan checklist. I got more freebies all throughout my videos. Go take a look and see. I might one day make them pay. Oh, guys, from the last video, real quick, I was talking about the place where she had all those free printables. It was donnayoung.org. It's all kind of, I think almost all of it is paid now. It's a membership site. But see, you got to get in while the getting is good. So get my free stuff now. And also, you guys were asking about that free reading program that I use for my kids that got them reading chapter books in kindergarten. It is progressivephonics.org or .com. But it's Progressive Phonics. And it's free. And this mom has had it free since my son is 14 and he used this when he was 4. So 10 years ago. So shout out to that mom. I'm gonna find a way to support her. And it's really it's a lot. She puts a lot into it. So I use that. I'll dig up the old photos and videos, you know, not anytime soon, maybe around Christmas or Thanksgiving. And I'll show you how I used it. It was really fun. I got all my kids. Don't mean it's gonna happen to everybody's kids, but it was so intuitive and so fun that my kids were they were wanting to do it. So, and it's free. So progressivephonics.org or .com, either one, you'll find it and check that out. That's free. Oh, another financing your homeschool is a topic I know some of you guys talked about. Free homeschool resources should definitely be another hot topic where we just, you know, all put together all the information and we just make a master list so we don't have to be paying for stuff. All right, guys. I saw Progressive Phonics this week. Hey, Jamila. Is it because I said it or you just happened to see it? Because it's all synchronicity, girl. All right. Lipstick and lunch. I love your name, lady. It's Saturday lunchtime here in Australia. Oh, that's perfect time for you then. Okay. Oh, you looked it up? Okay. So is it, Jamila, is it progressivephonics.org or .com? Because I'll link it down below after the live is over. Thank you for all the hearts on Instagram. I'm loving it. Okay, guys. Anyway, I'll put the link down below. So IG, mosey on over to my homepage. This video should be the first one you see on the homepage. Just click that to get all of your free stuff. All right, I'm about to go get some. I think we're doing Olive Garden. I haven't had Olive Garden since I was pregnant with my oldest son. And I love the bread, but my hips don't love the bread. But I'm going to have some bread tonight for Mandalorian. All right, guys. Love you. I'll see you on the next share. Peace. You're welcome, Kat. Bye-bye. Download video. Yes. Oh, end.